Tanjiro looks brave and kind, but his biggest fear is failing to protect the people he loves. Every fight he takes on, he carries the weight of Nezuko, his friends, and even strangers. What truly haunts him is the thought of losing them the same way he lost his family. Nezuko may not talk much, but her fear runs deep, losing her humanity completely. She fights every day against the demon blood inside her. The scariest thing for Nezuko isn't death. It's the idea that she could turn into a monster and hurt the very people she loves. Zenitsu screams and cries a lot, but underneath all that is his fear of being worthless. He's terrified of not living up to others' expectations and being left behind. That's why, when he's asleep and fighting, you see his true strength come out. It's his way of proving to himself that he isn't weak. Inosuke acts wild and fearless, but his biggest fear is being ignored or forgotten. Raised by boars, he never truly felt human connection. Deep down, what scares him most isn't death. It's not being recognized or accepted by others. Rengoku is the flame Hashira, and on the outside, he's all smiles and fire. But his fear? Letting people down. He carries his mother's words in his heart, and the idea of not living up to them, of failing to protect the innocent, is something that burns him more than any demon ever could. Giyu always looks calm, but his fear is being alone forever. He lost his family, his best friend, and even feels distant from the other Hashira. That's why he keeps people at arm's length. Deep down, he's terrified that everyone he cares about will disappear. Shinobu's smile hides a storm. Her biggest fear is not being able to avenge her sister. She knows she's not as strong as the other Hashira, so she found another way, poisons and strategies. But inside, she's scared that all her effort won't be enough to bring peace or honor her sister's memory. Mitsuri is full of love, but her fear is being unloved in return. For so long, she thought she was too strange, too strong, or too emotional to be accepted. That's why she treasures friendship and affection so much, because deep down, she's scared of being alone. Obanai's harsh words and cold eyes hide a painful fear, dying without protecting Mitsuri. He grew up in a cruel family and blames himself for many things, so the only light in his life is her. His deepest terror is leaving her behind or failing to keep her safe. Tsunemi is tough as steel, but his fear is losing more family. After what happened with his brother Genya, Tsunemi's heart is a battlefield. He acts angry and distant, but really, he's terrified of loving someone only to watch them get torn away. Muichiro may seem forgetful, but his fear is forgetting who he really is. Losing his memories was painful enough, and even when he regained them, the thought of losing his identity again, of becoming nothing more than an empty shell, is what scares him most. Tengen is flashy and confident, but his fear is not living a life worth remembering. He lost many siblings in harsh training, and now he lives with the pressure of standing out and making his life mean something. What he fears is dying without leaving behind a legacy of joy and strength. Muzan, the king of demons, has one fear above all: death itself. From the day he was born sickly and weak, he's been terrified of dying. That fear drives everything he does: his cruelty, his search for immortality, his obsession with perfection. Muzan isn't just powerful, he's a prisoner of his own fear. Akaza may be one of Muzan's strongest demons, but deep down, his fear is being weak again. In his human life, he couldn't protect the people he loved, and that pain haunts him even as a demon. What he dreads most is feeling powerless, unable to defend what matters.
Doma always smiles and acts like nothing bothers him, but his true fear is feeling nothing at all. Even as a human, he couldn't understand emotions. Deep down, what terrifies him is the possibility that his life has no meaning, that he'll never truly feel love or connection. Jutaro's biggest fear is being worthless and unloved. He grew up hated for his looks and treated like trash. Even as a demon, what hurts him most is the thought that he doesn't deserve happiness or beauty, which is why he clings so tightly to his sister, Daki. Daki may seem proud and cruel, but her fear is being abandoned. She relies on her brother and her beauty, but beneath it all, she's terrified of being left alone and forgotten. That fear is what drives her anger and arrogance. Enmu, the dream demon, hides a simple but dark fear, being insignificant. He wants to please Mutsan so badly because deep down, he's scared of being nothing more than a background character in life. His powers of dreams and nightmares are his way of forcing people to notice him. Kanao looks calm and collected, but her fear is making the wrong choice. Her abusive past left her unable to decide things for herself, so she flips a coin to hide that fear. Deep down, she's terrified of making choices that could lead to pain or loss. Genya's biggest fear is never earning his brother's approval. Sanemi means everything to him, and even when he risks his life, he's scared that Sanemi will never truly see him as worthy. That fear drives his desperation to grow stronger, no matter the cost. Before her tragic death, Kanai's fear was a world where kindness disappears. She believed in peace and forgiveness, even toward demons. What she truly dreaded was that hatred would win, that love wouldn't be enough to change the world. Sabito's fear was not living up to his potential. Even in death, he carried the weight of failing the final selection. His spirit still lingers, training others, because what scared him most was the idea that his sacrifice was meaningless. Makomo feared being forgotten. Gentle and quiet, she didn't want her existence erased. That's why she helps Tanjiro during his training. It's her way of ensuring her spirit and her kindness live on through someone else. Kokushibo's biggest fear is being overshadowed. Even as a human, he lived in the shadow of his brother Yorichi, who was a once-in-a-lifetime genius. What terrified Kokushibo wasn't death, it was being forgotten as the weaker brother, remembered only as a failure next to perfection. Nakime, the demon who controls the Infinity Castle, fears losing control. Her life was filled with tragedy and chaos, and as a demon, her power lets her manipulate space to create order. Deep down, she's scared of returning to the helplessness she felt as a human. Kaigaku, Zenitsu's former fellow student, fears being left behind. He hated feeling second best, especially compared to Zenitsu. That fear of inferiority pushed him into betraying his master and becoming a demon. His whole existence is fueled by the terror of being forgotten as the weaker one. Yorichi, the strongest swordsman in history, feared outliving everyone he loved. Blessed with power and cursed with loneliness, his greatest terror wasn't dying in battle, it was surviving while everyone else around him perished, leaving him in eternal solitude. Urakodaki, the former water Hashira and Tanjiro's master, fears his students dying under his training. After Sabito and Makomo didn't survive final selection, that guilt scarred him. What he dreads most is sending more young slayers to their deaths because of his teachings. Kagaya, the Demon Slayer Corps' leader, fears the Demon Slayer Corps dying with him. He knows his curse will take his life young, but what truly terrifies him is failing to lead humanity to victory against Mutsan. Every day, his calm smile hides the weight of that fear. Amane, Kagaya's devoted wife, fears living in the world without her family. Her life is tied to the clan's mission, and her greatest terror is seeing her children and husband erased by Mutsan's curse. Which character's fear do you think was the most surprising?